Hi everyone! Okay, welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time that you're seeing me, seeing my face, and you don't know who I am, hi, my name is Angie and welcome back to my channel. And today is Friday, so you know what it is. It's going to be another episode of Real Talks. Hi! So today I thought I would just throw it back to one of the articles that I've wrote on my LinkedIn profile a few years ago, and I'm going to reference that today because the title of that, why would I say article? Yeah, the title of that article is basically being a young leader. Now, of course, at the end of the day, there are so many different types of leaders out there when it comes to your work, or when you work in a company, work in a brand, work in an office, whether you are your own boss, small business, you are someone who has people working under them, you have people that you are reporting to. There's so many different types of leaderships or leaders that you can get out there in the world. And me, someone who is a millennial and also someone who probably never really thought of myself as someone who would have rose up the ranks as quickly as I did. I think a lot of things that I went through from a work perspective was a learning process for me, and I thought I would want to, share some of the learnings that I have gained throughout the years, being a manager of people, being a leader to my teammates and my colleagues, and of course how those learnings and those experiences have shaped the way that I am today as a person. Okay, so before we go into today's video, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you enjoy what you're watching, and if you do also relate to some of the points that I'm going to be talking to you about today, you can also leave those in the comment box down below. I'll also respond to them. You can also follow me on Instagram at AngieBear. I'm super active on Instagram. It's my favorite platform, so if you want to also slide in my DMs on Instagram, please, you can do so as well. So this article, I actually wrote it back in 2019, and this was basically at a time personally I was going through sort of like a really big obstacle from a leadership perspective. So I was facing a lot of different issues with the people with my team, and also how I was reacting to certain situations that were happening with my team at that time. So there are 5 different points that I actually put down in this article. You can see it here, but I can also leave a link to that in my description box down below if you also want to have a read about what I really talked about when it came to the things that I learned as a young leader. So let's see, this was probably 2 years ago. I was at a certain age, which I'm not going to reveal to you guys, but definitely when I wouldn't say thrust, when I was given the opportunity to become a leader, I would consider myself quite young to be in a position where I was a leader basically. So one of the things that I learned was basically to just be human and listen to what people have to say. And I think the most important thing for me as a person and as my personality is to listen, and it is something that I had to learn. I think a lot of time, a lot of people would just want to blah 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 and keep talking, and they forget to actually listen to what someone else is saying or what someone else is going through. And why I say just be human and listen to what people have to say is also because a lot of times as leaders, as managers, we go through instances or we go through times when you do see your colleagues or your teammates struggling to finish a certain task, or they're going through something that they don't feel comfortable enough to tell you, or they're afraid to ask for help or to ask for support. A lot of times what suffers is their work, right? And I think attuned to whatever that has been happening, I felt like I was seeing a pattern basically where a lot of people are afraid to share their feelings or their thoughts, or basically obstacles that they are going through, so they tend to keep it inside. And that's something that is very, very Asian. We we rarely talk about our emotions, we rarely talk about what's going on, and we rarely talk about if there are things that are weighing on our mind, or if we are going through like some things. And a lot of times I do tell my teammates that, you know, you can't hide your emotions, because it will start to affect your work. And once it starts affecting your work, as your manager, I feel like, you know, I am in a position where I can step in to help, and a lot of times I really want to make sure that I am lending them an ear to basically understand and see what is going through with them. Because let's be real here, guys, it was so difficult as well for so many people in 2020, right? Like with the whole pandemic and all those kind of things that has been happening. A lot of times people feel like, you know, we were not understood enough, or we were not heard enough, or we were not appreciated enough. And although to some people it might sound so like petty, so minute, it is really something that is so important for like the well-being of your team. And so like how I learn is to really like just be human. Don't be a piece of shit lah, basically. Don't be a robot, because robot don't have emotions. And why we want to connect with each other, or why are we on social all the time? We want to connect with each other. We want to be able to connect to something, build a sense of community, feel a sense of belonging. And if you're going to be like a robot, or if you are not going to care about other people's feelings, then there's no point for them to open up to you. And most of the time, if they don't open up to you, then, you know, tomorrow they will just like hand in their resignation letter and things like that, and you're the one who's gonna suffer. So just be human, guys. So yeah, that was one. The other thing that I learned is to, you know, sometimes a lot of things don't go according to plan, and it is okay. A lot of times I feel like we put so much pressure or so much expectations into planning. It could be a certain campaign, it could be planning a certain idea, or like brainstorming and working so hard for a plan. And you know, sometimes it just doesn't, like, it doesn't take off, it doesn't happen, and it really is okay. We are not supposed, or we don't expect you to be perfect all the time. And definitely you've seen a lot of breakdowns, a lot of like people who want to portray themselves to be so damn perfect all the time on like social media, on like videos, on lives and things like that. But at the end of the day, right, we're all just human, and we all also have flaws. You can't expect everyone to be perfect all the time. Even celebrities, you can't expect them to be perfect all the time, right? Because everyone also needs to have an opportunity to be themselves, you know, do their own thing, and basically learn as they go as well. Like don't you know, hop onto this whole cancel culture and things like that. So a lot of times, even as a leader, a lot of we plan structures, or we plan processes, and we plan plans and ideas where we want to make sure that it goes through like A to Z. And sometimes it doesn't work that way, or it doesn't work out. You need to be able to be agile enough to, you know, either look for solutions or make those changes along the way. Yep. So the third thing yeah, the third thing that I found very important for me to learn as a young leader is that it's really okay if people want to leave. And this is also something that I've learned from my previous bosses and my previous managers, is that we should never stop someone from pursuing their own dreams, or we should never stop someone from pursuing something that they truly want to do. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, people come and go, people leave. Different managers or different leaders would have different approaches or different ways to like break the news, or you know, how they come out with the news, or how they react towards that news, or how they react to you, right? Different people would have different ways. And I've read so many quotes that really talk about how people don't leave because of like pay, people leave like toxic work cultures, or people leave because of your managers and things like that. And sometimes I do agree with those quotes, but at the end of the day, there are so many different factors as well as to why people leave. And as I said, everybody has like different personalities, different wants, different growths, different career progressions, right? So a lot of them also have different needs. Like for example, person A could want to, you know, work somewhere where they get the highest pay because their need is money, another person because they want to pursue their passion, another person would want to work for the company because they want to build their experience, build their network and things like that. And a lot of times different people leave also for different reasons. Yes, there's definitely one defining reason why people leave, but we cannot just say that we write you off our books just because you want to leave because we don't pay you enough or things like that. But a lot of times I think the biggest obstacle, I would say, why people leave is definitely because of culture. And this is also coming from my own personal point of view, especially someone who is a millennial. A lot of times I think we hold like culture and like team camaraderie very strongly to our work ethic, right? And sometimes the way we progress, or the way that we work within the team, or how the culture of the company is like centered upon, plays a very big part of whether we will enjoy the work that we do as well. And a lot of times as a leader, I try to like refine and try to understand the teammates that I have within my team, just to make sure that even the people that join us have similar wants, similar goals and similar personalities, so that we can jive together and not have someone who gets left behind. Another thing that I learned is basically don't ever be selfish. And this one irks me so much because I have seen leaders, I have seen managers who basically just takes all of the credit for themselves, even though they did not lift a single finger to do the actual campaign or the actual work. I've seen people who have done that, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have also experienced something like this, whether it's personally or whether it's through someone else, through stories, through like movies or whatever. We've all seen those people who basically wants to be selfish and take all of the glory for themselves. And of course, coming from the previous episode where I talk about career advice, right? Yes, there are certain instances where you need to speak up and talk about your own success as well. But at the end of the day, a lot of times it really also depends on the work that we are doing, right? So where I'm coming from, or the experience that I come from when it comes to work, is a lot of things are done collectively. It's like a team project, or it's a team execution. So there's no one person who was like the A-class amazing things like that, because every single thing that we do connects to each different function or each different work that gets put out at the end of the day. So sometimes it's very difficult to be able to like show those people who are damn bloody selfish that it's not right that you are doing this. But also at the end of the day, those people who are very selfish, they don't see that they are being selfish also lah. So you can't help them, but you can always help yourself and internalize and be a little bit more mindful in the future. The other thing is the fifth thing that I learned is to basically never stop fighting for your team's growth. And a lot of times I feel like I had that opportunity when I was working in the Philippines. Like I was constantly fighting for the growth of my team, and I would never ever sugarcoat the things that I say to my team versus the team or the management when I want to make sure that I get the growth that my teammate deserves. Because a lot of times I want to be able to provide them with the actual step-by-steps, the actual like route. What can you do, or what should you do to grow within your position? What can you learn? How can you basically spearhead your career growth? And of course, at the end of the day, it's a two-way communication, right? So if I am being fed these kinds of information, I will then also be able to know how I can use this to approach management when it comes to helping my teammate grow. And I would always make sure I fight for the growth of my team. And of course, at the end of the day, again, I keep saying it is a two-way thing. So we also need to make sure that those that we are getting the approvals from also see the value of the work that the team is putting when it comes to helping them grow as well. So a lot of times I also feel like as leaders, we tend to be a little bit blindsided when it comes to the nitty-gritty things that our team does, because we are always looking from a big picture point of view. And sometimes it irks me, because for me, I also really want to make sure I fight for the little guys, right? I also want to make sure that while we look at the big picture, we also never ever neglect whatever that is being done on the ground. So I try to make sure I push those kinds of agenda to make sure that nobody gets left out. And finally, basically, in the last point is to never stop believing in yourself. And I think this is one of the hardest lessons I've learned in 2020, because I think at one point I really stopped believing in myself. I really stopped believing in my capabilities, my experience, like my growth. I stopped believing in myself basically, and it's been quite a battle for the last few weeks to like really think about how I have been questioning myself, my capabilities, and how I need to stop doing that and really believe in what I can do and what I can deliver. And at the end of the day, you are your own worst enemy. So a lot of times, because we tend to, or I tend to internalize things a lot, right? So because of those kind of internalization, I don't know if it's a word, I also tend to question myself and stop believing in my own capabilities. And I think I have been trying to like fight tooth and nail to like get out of that well. Yeah, so I feel like I need to shut out my inner saboteur because I have been sabotaging myself and not believing in myself enough. So those are just, what was that, 6? Again, wow, it's 6 points of the things that I learned as a young leader. And of course, at the end of the day, different people will have different experiences, will have different approach as well. But at the end of the day, just make sure that you are doing you and you are being your true self and the genuine you. But if you are a POFS, you gotta internalize and don't be like that. Okay, don't be that little basically. You know who you are. I know. And you know. You know that you're that. So don't be that. Like, internalize yourself. Cool. Okay, so it's not really simple and sweet, but I hope you guys learned a little something, or you guys can take something and apply it as well in your own daily life. But if this is again the first time that you're watching my channel, hi, I'm Angie. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next week. Next week.